Charlton face Middlesbrough at the Riverside in what looks like their first real stern test of the season. Can the Addicts make it 3 wins out of 3? Or will Middlesbrough carry on from where they left off at St Andrews last week and their 3-0 thrashing of Birmingham? Neil Webb is with Paul Walsh.
Paul, great start for Charlton, 2 wins, albeit against 2 newly promoted clubs, and a difficult task this Saturday away at Borough.
Yeah, I think when the fixtures came out, I think Alan Kirby probably looked at that and thought if they can get off to a good start, obviously the games that they've got coming up, being Sunderland away and Wigan at home, were games he felt that they could win. And they certainly got a great result away at Sunderland, and obviously the big bonus for them has been Darren Bent getting the goals. And also coming back to the Valley after that great start, you've got Wigan at home, and the first thing you want is another good home result, and they've got that. Bent again getting on the score sheet, and they've got off to a good start, but I think Borough would be a different proposition.
Yeah, I mean, they're an indifferent team, Borough, really, at times. I mean, some days good and some days bad at the office. Yeah,
I mean, I've seen most of their games this season. I did their last game against Tottenham. A little bit unfortunate in some ways. You know, if Downing had taken his chance when Viduka slid him in, it could have been different. That would have levelled the scores. But he didn't take the chance. But the difference, certainly for me, with Middlesbrough was Viduka. When he came on against Tottenham, he was excellent. He scored a couple in a week against Birmingham, so he's really off and flying and looking confident, and he's going to be a real danger for Charlton.
Yeah, and Kirbishley at Charlton at the moment, he seems to be playing one up front, Bent up front on his own, and you as an ex-striker will know that that is a hard job to do.
Well, it is. When you play up front on your own, the thing you want to do is you want to run around because there's a space, there's no one in your way, and you end up covering a lot of ground and do a lot of useless running. So it's very difficult, and Darren Bent, being a little bit inexperienced, probably will have to learn that you conserve your energy and make the runs at the right time. But I'm the last person at the moment to tell Darren Bent to do anything because he's got off to a fantastic start. He's scoring goals, he's playing with confidence, and I'm sure he's going to want to keep that going.
Yeah, I think his opening week in the Premiership, you know, 2 goals and an England call-up. That's not bad.
Well, it can't go much better than that, can it? I mean, if you're a player, I mean, I think it was who turned down a chance, Alan Smith, wasn't it? He wanted to get a reserve game in, so the next player on the list, Bent, who has got a great record at under 21 level scoring wise, got the nod, and I should think that's really boosted his confidence.
I think overall in most seasons Charlton do well up to Christmas, and then after Christmas tend to fade away a bit.
Well, that's it. I think, you know, Alan Kirbishley this season he's got to try and change the mentality a bit, you know, not let the players, or when they do get to that position, which I'm sure they'll get there very quickly, they've got to have that mentality to kick on and want to be winners. You know, they've got the likes of Danny Murphy who've won things, and he's got to try and instill that into his players. You know, that when you get to that safety mark that you kick on and maybe aim for Europe, because Charlton could be contenders for Europe if they really keep at it.
So the tactic for Saturday at Borough, go for the draw or possibly go for a win?
Well, I think it's going to be, if he goes with a 5 across the midfield again, I think then it's a case of who you've got in the wide positions. He's had Rommedahl out there on the right, and who's the other lad, Jerome Thomas on the left, isn't it? So I think they're very attacking-minded players. It just depends whether he approaches the game a little bit more defensively and decides to maybe put a more defensive-minded player on the wide positions, or press Middlesbrough back by attacking them. You know, it just depends what how he feels going about it.
Finally, prediction on Saturday, put you on the spot?
I think Middlesbrough are going to be really tough to beat, and I think a point would be a great point for Charlton. I can't see them winning it.
Let's get the team news then from the Riverside. Borough field a strong defensive lineup with Echiog and Southgate together in central defence. Mark Viduka plays up front alongside Yakubu, who's making his full home debut. Charlton are unchanged, keeping the same lineup that started against Wigan. Sean Bartlett and Jonathan Spector, who are both fit again, they make the bench. Those are the teams. After the break, it's time for the action. Full coverage of Middlesbrough v Charlton is coming up, so don't go away.
Charlton, along with Chelsea and Manchester United, they're keeping good company. One of 3 100% clubs in the Premiership in these early days. In a change strip today, wearing their White and Kishushev looking to feed this forward towards the predatory Darren Bent, who's become one of the talking points of the early season with his striking talents. Now Downing up on his first run. That's that confrontation we were talking about alongside Luke Young.
It's his first instinct, isn't it, Stuart Downing, to get it and attack his full-back. I think that's why he has been such a success here. Fans love him.
Ray Parlour. Back to Morris, and this exciting youngster playing wide on the right and preferred to Mendieta. Back to Reisiger. Parlour again looking to chip one, and Yakubu getting in behind there. Couldn't quite bring it down.
It's a beautifully timed run from Yakubu. You look at Chris Perrin, he's just trying to step up here, and he knows Yakubu's onside. He's taking a chance. Just couldn't bring it down.
Still waiting for his first Middlesbrough goal, Yakubu, after 2 prolific seasons down at Portsmouth. £7.5 million he cost, and back from injury today. Here he is again, looking to make a statement, no doubt, with Hasselbank back from injury soon. Downing, lovely looking ball in. Yakubu gets it behind. That would have been a picture goal had it gone in.
It's a real tempter, wasn't it? A little bouncing ball into the middle. Very cutely played in from Stuart Downing. He didn't just whip it in as normal. He just took a little bit off, and that's what's confounded Chris Perry, who's had a little shaky opening spell to this match. Doesn't get anywhere near it. Yakubu will think he should have done a lot better than that.
What a great ball from Stuart Downing, who believes that he can contest that left-sided place for England with Joe Cole. It is a talking point again after the Denmark debacle.
Well, he's in the under-21s, isn't he? And the only way he's up for this boy, I'm sure, he keeps his feet on the ground. He's ready made for that left-hand side. Eriksson will only agree in time, I'm sure he will.
Towards Viduka, who really put down a marker the other night at Birmingham. He was in absolutely sizzling form. One of the goals they were talking about as maybe the best Borough have ever scored. Might be a little bit far-fetched, that, in the evening paper last night. Was a cracker, though. Here's Danny Murphy, another player who's been in excellent early season form. Rommedahl here, the pacey winger. Now Kishushev. Murphy again. Powell playing it inside. This is Smerton, who's been an important addition for Charlton this season. His energy and work rate, having arrived on loan from Chelsea. Boateng. Frank Kedru, who beats himself up a little bit over that one. Terry, nearly played that a little too short for his goalkeeper there. Smertin. Now Viduka. Looking for a bit of support over there, Viduka. Not much arriving, in all honesty, and Charlton do well to quarry back possession.
Certainly started the brighter Middlesbrough, quicker, sharper into the tackle. Not giving this Charlton midfield any time to settle at the moment.
Rommedahl. Wonderful pace. Bent is in the middle. He's on the back post, just a bit too long for him. But you saw the speed there of Dennis Rommedahl, who reportedly can cover 100 metres in 10.2 seconds, which is world class.
Well, it's about his end product in positions like this, and in fairness to him, he didn't only have the one target. Jerome Thomas was arriving late on the scene, just overcooked it slightly.
This is the unsung Bulgarian Kishushev. Does an important job in that midfield for Charlton, who do have a few players to come back as well, including the captain Matt Holland. Interesting battle for places. Not a luxury Charlton have always had in the past, of course. They've got a first-team squad of 37, Alan Kerbishley was saying last week, including their first-year pros. Rommedahl. Towards that back post again, and just a bit too long. Thomas just limping away a little too.
Well, they've been encouraged by that start from Dennis Rommedahl, Charlton. I think sometimes they feel if their winger is on song, he just gives them a little bit extra bite going forward. Couple of good, promising positions for them.
Seeing a lot of the ball early on. Dennis Rommedahl, who scored against England, of course, for Denmark in that recent friendly. Powell. Kishushev, bit of a misunderstanding over there with him and Jerome Thomas, who's still just feeling some kind of injury by the look of things over on that left-hand side. Viduka looking to knock it on. Murphy, very congested in that midfield, and Ray Parler did very well. Here's Downing, who's already set up one big chance. Good work by Chris Perry for Charlton. This is Yakubu. I was expecting a player in support on the edge of the box, nobody in that particular area.
So hard to shake off the ball though, Yakubu. He's just shrugged a couple aside down there by the corner flag.
Young and Rommedahl working something on the right-hand side, trying to pick up Darren Bent, who is faced with playing Southgate and Ehiog with over 1,000 games between them in their careers, more or less on his own there in the middle, though there'll be support arriving. Well, Charlton hopes so anyway. This is Jerome Thomas. Again aimed towards the back post, and Rommedahl's got that back! Oh, and an important piece of work from Southgate. They thought it had gone out of play. Schwartz was appealing.
Well, Frank Kedra at the far post is vainly appealing that this was out of play, looking across to the linesman. It's very close, but he's given it up, the Frenchman. Could have just got that cut back a little bit further towards his teammate. It was a simple tap-in for Bent.
Nasty moment that for Middlesbrough, who haven't conceded a goal, by the way, in their last 3 Premiership games on this ground. Beating West Brom 4-0, Spurs 1-0 on the 0-0 draw with Liverpool. Steve McLaren faced 1 or 2 accusations in one of the Sunday papers today about keeping Downing back from the England squad, which I'm sure he would deny vehemently.
He's a big England man, isn't he, Steve McLaren? He would have been panicking a little bit there, though, when that cross came into the far post.
Charlton paying their second visit to the northeast already. They've already won 3-1 at Sunderland on the opening day.
He had good movement on that cross, and he did lose his marker. He drifted behind Gareth Southgate and the ball just went over his head, but he's an intelligent player in those positions, senses where to go in the box to gain a little bit of space.
Kudru, beautifully measured this time for Downing, but Luke Young doing some good work. Just looking to give everybody a little reminder of his quality in this televised game at right back. Luke Young, who's absolutely terrific all last season if you talk to any Charlton supporters.
I think he was their player of the year, wasn't he? Very steady.
He was.
Loves to bomb on, get forward.
Young, by the way, now the Charlton skipper, with Holland out injured at the moment. Kudru with the head in. Then Reisiger getting it away. Yakubu not quite able to hold it up. Danny Murphy on towards Rommedahl. A little bit disappointing, I think, by common consent in his first season at Charlton. But maybe if he really comes alive on that right-hand side this time around, it will give Charlton another dimension. Charlton's free kick.
There's been a couple of challenges that Mike Dean has chosen to blow up for. Ones that look pretty innocuous to me.
Herman Hreidarsson predictably has come forward from the back. Charlton's tallest player. He goes in for it, bit of nudging. Middlesbrough will get the free kick.
They're not a particularly big team, Charlton, by any stretch of the imagination, and Hreidarsson is the one threat that they will naturally aim for. Puts himself about in those forward positions.
This is Ugo Ehiogu making his 350th league appearance, by the way, today. This fixture, by the way, down the years with a record of ending up as a draw. Mind you, one of the draws way back in 1960 in the Brian Clough era ended 6-all. Quite amazing. We'd settle for that today, wouldn't we? Certainly the neutrals among us anyway. Smertin. Trying to feed Bent, but they're watching him very carefully. The secret's out of it, isn't it, Alan, I think?
I think Smertin wanted Bent to come into feet there, whereas the striker was looking for it over the shoulder with Ehiogu.
From Kedru. Downing has this time gone into the middle, looking to just break in behind Hreidarsson, who's being deployed in central defence at the moment in the Charlton setup. Left back, of course, a lot of the time last season. Kishishev finds Smertin. Plenty of players forward here in white shirts for Charlton. Bent is one of them. And that one is a threat only to the corner flag.
It's always a difficult one, that letting the ball come across your body, but it's a beautiful move and a beautiful first-time pass from Kishishev to release Smertin. Nothing wrong with a cutback, but just gets his timing fractionally off Darren Bent. Lets it come across and makes contact a little too late. Good chance though. Do look dangerous going forward, Charlton. And they break down those channels, particularly on this right-hand side.
Well, Alan Kirshley was saying, wasn't he, to Richard Keys pre-kick-off, that they've not only won both their games, they've been playing well too. The confidence is high. And that after that terrible end to last season when they failed to win in their last 9 matches. One of the great mysteries, that. Got to look at that old Rolling Stones hit, not fade away this time.
Showing your age there.
Yeah, as usual. This is Jerome Thomas. Kishishev. A lot of bodies in that central midfield area for Charlton, the way that they're set up. Rommedahl. Bundled over by Yakubu.
Strikers tackle that one.
We're just having a little word with Danny Murphy about something or other. What I couldn't begin to explain. Any ideas, Alan?
So at the moment, it's Yakubu that's getting the talking to.
Mike Dean's first game back in the Premiership after serving a suspension. Young. Kishishev won the tackle well. Here's Danny Murphy, who's already scored this season. Watch him from the set pieces if John get any around the box. Jerome Thomas. Possession well. Smertin. Murphy's picked it up again, hunting in packs the men in white shirts from South London. Boateng gets a little foot in, and Middlesbrough can escape with a free kick.
See what those 2 wins have done for Charlton though. Everybody's confident in possession, everybody wants the ball, there's decent movement.
Ehiog, last season ruined by injury for him. Looking to knock one inside, foul for Morrison. Bent, nice spin from him into space, but not such a good ball for Rommedahl. Kudry was able to pick it up. Can Middlesbrough break quickly? Yakubu, no way again past Luke Young. By the way, a win or even a draw would put Charlton Athletic into 3rd place. By the time this game finishes, anyway. Terry's header away. Kudry back in. And then Haridason in the way for Charlton, who've begun confidently here.
Well, you can hear the frustration in the crowd, can't you? They're up off the seats whenever it goes wrong, whenever Middlesbrough attacks break down. Getting a little bit impatient.
Viduka. Those goals he scored the other night at Birmingham were his first since last December. He's had problems with hamstring and back injuries. Parlour. Thomas battling away well for Charlton and trying to pick up the run of Bent, but Mark Schwarzer is out very, very quickly. Southgate. Now Downing. Ray Parlour. Yakubu. Good move so far. Reisiger. Morrison wants it fed in the channel. Reisiger goes the other way. Can he get away a shot with his left foot? He can't. Downing will though. Always curling over.
It's a good run from the fullback. First time really he has got forward, and they have been struggling to get past that Charlton trio in midfield, but they eventually release the right back. Gets crowded out and it just gets under Downing's feet a little bit. Difficult to dig that one out.
Reisiger, who followed the route from Barcelona to Borough. Not a journey often trodden by footballers down the years. Rommedahl keeping it in play. Plenty of support up there as well. It's aimed towards Bent on that far post. He couldn't get anything on it. But another promising situation for Charlton Athletic.
Well, it was such a delicate ball he tried here, Dennis Rommedahl. A real threat up this right-hand side with his pace. And that's the 3rd time he's tried to pick out Darren Bent, and the 3rd time it's been fractionally too hard and it's drifted away from the striker.
But he's pulling into some interesting positions, is Bent.
Well, you have to think if Middlesbrough continue to let Rommedahl free round down that right-hand side, he will make them pay sooner or later.
One or two people looked at Charlton's start, didn't they, Alan? Said, well, yeah, but they beat both the promoted sides, or 2 of them anyway, in Wigan and Sunderland in their first 2 matches. This will be a different test again, away to Middlesbrough, who don't lose many here at the Riverside, but certainly started well. Kudry. Oh, that's a bit long, and I'm not sure the goalkeeper Anderson really had that covered.
Well, had to backtrack a little bit quickly. Curling away, he's overhit the cross. Frank Kudry, not what he was intending.
He was certainly worried for a moment there, wasn't he, Stefan Anderson?
Well, once he got his angle sorted out, I think he realised it was drifting wide. curling away all the time.
Here's Martin. Oh, Downing and Luke Young thinking that the other was going to win that ball. It's Middlesbrough's throw. Kedru into Viduka, who just took a stab from Murphy, I believe it was. Referee saw nothing wrong.
That's going to be a conscious effort from Charlton when the ball is played into the Mark Viduka. They know how good he is at holding it up, and they want one of those three midfielders to get back and nip away at him. Don't let him construct attacks, and it was Danny Murphy then that got his foot in. Made sure the big man wasn't able to settle on it.
Real battle for places in this Charlton side this year. They've got Darren Ambrose to come back from suspension, Gonzalo Sorondo, the defender, Matt Holland, of course, Jonathan Spector is on the bench, Kevin Lisby, Jason Newell, Talalay Kapuri. Best part of another team.
It's a decent sized squad, isn't it? Probably worried the chairman once or twice having to pay that wage bill, but he's going to have to use each and every one of those players as the season goes on.
Given away to Parler. There's Thomas, former Arsenal Youth Cup winner in his earlier days, only 22 now. Had a very good impression last season.
I think he got himself fit, didn't he, to the level required in the Premiership, and he's come on leaps and bounds, Jerome Thomas.
Here's Rommedahl. Again, Bent is waiting in the middle, as is Thomas. Too long for both of them. And if there has been a criticism about Charlton's work, it's that those crosses have just eluded the targets.
He can be a frustrating individual, Dennis Rommedahl, because he offers so much, but it is an end product that a winger is judged on. He's failed on that score up to now, as dangerous as he's looked. Frank Kedru doesn't quite know what to do with him, whether to get tight and leave space around the back. He's sitting off a little bit. Charlton dominating possession.
The away side, well, it's certainly getting the better of it, but you'd have to say Middlesbrough have had the best chance. That one for Yakubu early on. Ariderson is up from the back, as is Chris Perry. Perry goes in for it, Schwarzer grabs it. Goalkeeper who's graduated to the level now where he has a kiosk at the ground named after him, as has Gareth Southgate. Apparently already entered the Middlesbrough Legends Pantheon.
I've got one of those at Leicester, you know.
Have you?
Yeah, I think it's a chip shop.
What about at Alv Church?
Oh, the whole ground's named after me.
Viduka is the player down injured. Morrison against Chris Powell. Back at Charlton these days after his little odyssey at West Ham. Pretty attritional in that midfield. Parler did very well there. Viduka, Downing, Morrison. Yakubu's waiting in the middle, as is Viduka. They'll get the corner, Middlesbrough.
It's a bit of passage of play for Middlesbrough. They've had a sustained period now where they have managed to keep it, work the ball into the striker's feet and get it wide. That's when they're at the best.
Downing with the corner kick. Goes a long way. Smartin, I think, managing to get it away. And Luke Young has got it back for Charlton, who can break quickly here, can they? Thomas. Oh, he's done ever so well there. He was caught. Carry on. Play advantage, says the referee. Good advantage too. Still Thomas. Now Kishushev has come forward, and that's behind Rommedahl. Now Murphy's got it. Rommedahl, excellent block. Ugo Ehiog, important.
Well, really good move. Again, the final ball, just letting themselves down, Charlton. Not getting as tight as Steve McClaren would like, some of those Middlesbrough defenders. Rommedahl was able to get the ball into feet, deep in the heart of Middlesbrough's box.
Ryderson's booming header. Bent, good hold-up work from him. Smertin. Again towards the back post again. Too long for Thomas.
It's identical, isn't it? Identical, but they continue to fashion these kind of positions where they've got somebody on the ball with time to look up. Maybe a little ball down the channel there to Darren Bent. That's what Bent's saying. I was in.
Smertin's picked it up. Middlesbrough gave away possession. Is Radostin Kishishev in towards Murphy. Murphy letting go with the left foot. Didn't really get hold of it. Took a deflection anyway. Charlton showing the confidence that the winning 100% start has given them, but nothing to show for it so far. This is good from Middlesbrough so far. Downing, never a threat really.
Proud of going mad because James Morrison had made that run up the right-hand side. Downing being a left-sided type of player, he instinctively moved back inside onto that left foot. Didn't know Morrison had made the run on his outside. You can see the youngster now making strides into that space. Never looked like getting it.
There was a little bit of a doubt about Stuart Downing before this game. He didn't train after the Birmingham game in midweek with a jarred knee, and the medical team just keeping a lookout on that. Won by Ryderson. Smertin, good control from him, not such a good ball thereafter. Middlesbrough unable to find any real attacking rhythm. They're being outnumbered in that central area of midfield.
Yeah, they're having all sorts of problems in there. They can't settle on it, and they've got the extra man Charlton, and the movement, people breaking forward to join Bent.
Offside here, must have been close. Viduka must have been close.
Did look close, didn't it? Did look close. Chris Perry went with him on that occasion. Well, he is off, isn't he?
I think Rob Martin, the official on that far side, did get it right. Kishishev looking to pick up Rommedahl, but not quite. Charlton might be a little worried at the amount of possession that they've had, about how few chances they've really created with all that possession.
Well, when you're playing away from home and you are dominating possession like they are, you really need to be making use of it, because you have to think it's not going to last all match.
Morrison. Easy for Ryderson. This is Smertin, the literature-loving Russian midfield player. Kadru's header away. Downing, Adam, Yakubu. Only Viduka in front of him. He needs a bit of support. Morrison, Reisiger's on the overlap. If he can pick him up, he can. He crosses towards Viduka, but it's a poor one, easily cut out by Ryderson, and more frustration for the Borough fans as that attack breaks down. And now Thomas using his pace on that left-hand side. Just bent with him up front so far. Rommedahl arriving on the right. Here he is. Very good challenge from Kadru.
It's deeply disappointing. Danny Murphy had bust a gut to get up there and join down Ben Jerome Thomas, and to see it fizzle out like that. Gutted as a midfield player.
Morrison a bit of a buzz when he gets the ball among the Middlesbrough fans. Local boy was born in Darlington. Boateng can pick this up. Charlton getting a lot of men behind the ball. Looking very, very well organised. Well played by Chris Perry. Very well played. Is Rommedahl. Now Jerome Thomas, another probe from Charlton. But where can they take it? And can they fashion a really clear-cut chance at the end of it? Murphy. Charlton got a free kick. Murphy might fancy his chances from here. He scored at Sunderland with an excellent free kick, and I remember him putting one in at Fratton Park as well against Portsmouth
do well to
last
score
season.
from here.
Yeah, it's a long way, isn't it? Yeah, it is
30,
a long way.
35 yards out.
Yeah, you need Roberto Carlos maybe from out there. But let's see. It is Murphy, and it is away. This is Smertin. Charged down by Viduka, and again Chris Perry very quick to see the danger and get across. First time that Viduka and Yakubu have played together, Alan, so far. Just forging an understanding.
Might just take time. Not been helped by the fact that they've been watching things going on up the other end for large parts of this first half, and had the service they'd won.
Good challenge that by Ehiog, who was shadowing Bent all the way. Vidru helps it forward. Yakubu. Morrison, a member of Middlesbrough's FA Youth Cup winning side in 2004. And incidentally, all that side came from within a 20-mile radius of Middlesbrough, so a real hope for the future, and quite a few of them have been graduating to the first team squad as well.
And Steve McLaren's doing his nut down there on the sideline. He was. I think he wants the two full-backs, whichever side it's on, to get up there and support and overlap. That's when they've looked dangerous, particularly rights to go up the right-hand side. Be a bit more adventurous in your forward play. That's what he'll be asking them to be. Taking chances, so
yeah, they're not creating much. Well, neither side are creating too much. Let's be honest about it.
It's been a little bit laboured from Middlesbrough, taking the time in possession instead of taking a chance.
Now then, Rommedahl goes past Kadru, cuts it back to a red shirt. Lovely bit of wing play as far as it went until the cross came along.
In fairness, three players went towards the goal without one of them hanging back. Didn't give much of a target for Rommedahl. Still a poor ball though. Had the time to look up, see what was on.
Natives are a bit restless. Middlesbrough fans here want a bit more from their side by way of attacking intent, but another move breaks down, and everything was so upbeat after that great win they had at Birmingham in midweek. Now Bent up against the whole Middlesbrough defence. He's got the pace. He needs some support. Every space seeming to be filled in midfield by a white shirt of Charlton Athletic. Smertin. Foraging run from him. Ehiog got a foot in, but Charlton pick it up again. Powell. That's a better looking ball towards Bent, but away by Southgate. was hustled out of it, which is unusual.
Just look a bit leggy at the moment, Middlesbrough. Much life in those legs and not much ideas either.
Of course, Middlesbrough had a game in midweek, Charlton didn't.
He's got into this position how many times? 4 or 5 times. Each time he hasn't been able to pick out the final ball. You see the 3 lads bombing in. He could see them. A drilled ball across the face of the box would have done.
George Boateng down, injured. He did have a little knock in the run-up to this game, as did Downing. Ten minutes to the break, Middlesbrough 0, Charlton Athletic 0. No sign of the 6-6 yet then, Alan?
We can only hope. Well, they won't want to lose George Boateng. They've got 2 similar type of central midfielders in Boateng and Ray Parlour, and they do miss Bolo Zenden. He was used so well last season, breaking forward into the box to join the strikers. I don't think Mendieta really is up to speed at the moment after that injury he had. I'd be loath to put him on just yet.
He did start the season out on the right, but they've decided he's not quite sharp enough yet. Morrison keeping him out of the side, Gaishka Mendieta. And you had a shot there of Massimo Macaroni, almost a forgotten figure up on Teesside, cost over £8 million. Well, he's on the bench today.
Yeah, I saw in his loan spell, he had a couple of loans over in Italy, didn't he, in his second one. He scored a few goals. That would have helped him. He's been a bit of a mystery here. I think he's a talented lad. Whether he can prove it, I don't know.
Well, maybe he'll get a chance to prove it later on. Oh, it's a great run and a very, very fine goal. Charlton Athletic taking the lead.
Well, Jamie Redknapp in the studio before and was talking about Danny Murphy's ability to spot the pass and to play the perfectly weighted ball. You see, he gets the time and he gets the space. Dennis Rommedahl has been a threat up that right-hand side, but the moment he chooses to go through the middle, he gets a chance, and there's nothing wrong with his finish, is there?
Great finish by Dennis Rommedahl.
His final ball to teammates hasn't been on, but wow, that was immaculate.
Just caught cold there, and now there is a payoff for Charlton. Rommedahl, who only got a couple last season, set up by Danny Murphy, and Charlton's bubbling start to the season continues.
Well, you can't say it wasn't coming. They'd threatened and threatened, and we thought maybe, well, that final ball hasn't been right. Danny Murphy made sure it was that time.
Viduka. Morrison. And Middlesbrough bite back again. That's off Perry and behind for the corner kick.
Well, I think they almost needed for that to happen, Middlesbrough, to pep them up, give them the kicks at the backside, because they have looked very lethargic.
I'm sure they'll get a bit of a rocket at half-time if it stays this way from Steve McLaren. Here's the corner kick. Smerton got it away on that near post. It came out towards Kedru. Yakubu, can he finish it off? Oh, and off the line. Kedru was denied by Luke Young, I believe it was.
Yeah, Luke Young was the man. And from the left boot to Kedru to start off with. Gets a good contact here on the far post, and Yakubu can't quite get sight of goal. Well, Luke Young's doing what he's there for. Man on the post, and he'd stayed there. Did his job.
Kedru scored the other night at Birmingham. He does get among the goals. There were 5 last season from him as well, and only denied there by Young on that left-hand post. Here he is again. They've got Emmanuel Pogatetz, the new signing from Bayer Leverkusen, on the bench for the first time. His suspension now over. He is a left-sided defender as well, which I'm sure Kedru will be aware of. Ryderson invited Anderson to come and get it. He did, but he took a knock as he did so there. In with Yakubu.
Well, it's always a risky one as a defender when you're trying to shepherd the ball back. Maybe there's not quite enough weight on the ball and you've got a striker bearing down, breathing down your neck. He's nowhere near the ball, Yakubu. Could argue he's entitled to go for it.
Oof. Looks like the stud scored his knee.
I don't think there's any malice there. Generally don't think that. The life and times of a keeper. Take those knocks.
Thomas Myra is the deputy keeper. Of course, the number one at Charlton, Dean Kiley, out with a broken finger at the moment and not due back too imminently either. But they do have experienced cover. Dennis Rommedahl with a fine strike to put Charlton Athletic ahead here.
Well, it's a bad touch, isn't it? Was it James Morrison that presents possession, and they certainly don't waste it. Not getting anywhere near close enough to Danny Murphy, who is going to punish you with the quality that he's got on the ball. And Rommedahl showing plenty of quality of his own. Clinical finish.
Really was a super finish, that, from Rommedahl. And it was his pace, yet again, that got him there.
I think he'd be relieved because his manager might just have had a word in his ear about his final ball from the right-hand side, but he saved himself with that finish, that's for certain.
Charlton Athletic, who've never won away at Middlesbrough since 1990. Not only never in the Premiership, they've usually come away with a point here in recent meetings. Could it be better than that? Murphy. And Rommedahl again, showing plenty in this first half. Much involved. Murphy again. Rommedahl, good dummy that, and Smertin. Very good block indeed by Southgate. Young getting in behind here. Charlton pretty rampant in this first half.
Chasing shadows, aren't they, at the moment? Middlesbrough. Rommedahl very nearly got caught out when he didn't track Smertin. Finding themselves with having to try and cover against an extra man. Really are playing the ball about well, Charlton. See, just escapes Ray Parler's grasp. Good block.
I think Alexei Smertin thought he might be in for his first ever Premiership goal there. He did score, didn't he, last year for Chelsea in the Champions League against Porto. And picked up a championship medal, of course. Ehiob from Middlesbrough to Reisiger. Paducah unable to control it. Downing. Yakubu. Oh, and a very fine save there as Morrison let go.
Well, they sunk quite deep into their own penalty area there, Charlton, and for one of the first times Yakubu was able to get the ball in a very dangerous area. Breaks off him. Good save from Anderson.
Downing on his left foot. Now, one or two things for Middlesbrough as the half draws towards its close here. Thomas missing now. Yakubu's got it. Good covering. Yakubu again, and a total air shot from him. Oh dear.
John Thomas will be relieved because it's not where you want to lose the ball. A minute before half time, 10 yards in front of your own penalty area.
It was an embarrassed smile, I think, more than anything, from Yakubu as he got up.
There's no much to feed off. this half. A few times he's had a sight of goal with the ball at his feet.
3 minutes of added time. Charlton, it should be said, pretty good value for their lead, though there have been one or two things for Middlesbrough. Ehiog getting it away. Downing over on the right-hand side for the moment. Perry plays this one forward. Bent trying to break in behind. There was some backspin on the ball, but not that much. Morrison now over on the left. Little switch tactically. Parler picks this up. There was a mistake by Kishishev for a moment. Yakubu, quick feet from him, but it's another cul-de-sac. Smertin.
It's the Charlton system that one hands down, hasn't it, for this first 45. It'll be interesting to see if Steve McClellan at half-time makes any kind of adjustment to counter it, and certainly be demanding more from his players when they are in these kind of situations.
Downing, Terry, getting it away, Viduka, and then Horizon.
A bit more zip to the play, Middlesbrough. A little bit forward quicker.
Kadru, but that's just catching practice for Anderson.
Well, he's had to keep his concentration. Anderson hasn't had too much to do this half. Right on his toes there, be pleased with that.
Last, a bit of fire from Middlesbrough late in the half. Yakubu, after hit Chris Perry in the face, goes for the corner kick. Middlesbrough can only get better, you would think, after the break. Almost everybody forward. Downing playing it in there. Ehiog trying to get his head to it, but it was really good work by Chris Perry, who's not the tallest, but did the job anyway. And that may be symptomatic for Borough in the first half, as Reisiger just lumps it into touch on this left-hand side. Steve McLaren, who took Middlesbrough to their highest ever Premiership finish of 7th last season, but they're behind here thanks to Dennis Rommedahl's excellent strike. Much involved Danny Murphy, who set him up with a fine through ball as well. And Charlton at the moment on course to maintain their 100% record. It's Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 1. Morrison and Kedru, who have gone off, and this fellow Emmanuel Pogatetz will be making his debut. You can see Geshka Mendieta's coming on as well. Probably going to go straight to left back. He plays there. Pogatetz, an Austrian who was banned for 6 months in Russia after a leg-breaking tackle while on loan at Spartak Moscow, but that's been reduced to 8 games, and Spartak Moscow have played 8 games since that incident happened, and Pogatetz is free for the first time to play for Middlesbrough. He's arrived for £1.8 million. Geshka Mendieta moving into the right side. Extra experience for him, but he did have a cruciate injury which kept him out for nearly all of last season, and is, well, I think by common consent, not up to full match sharpness. But Middlesbrough obviously felt, Alan, they needed to make a change or two.
Interesting one, isn't it? Frank Kedru, normally so reliable. I don't know if he's got a knock or what. I mean, he did have a bit of a chasing from Dennis Rommedahl at times. Whether that's the reason that Steve McClaren has put Pogatetz on. Maybe as well a bit more guile he thinks he needs going forward, and Mendieta's your man for that. He can pick a pass.
Southgate playing it forward, his 600th career appearance, not going quite as planned so far. Difficult ball this for Perry to deal with, but it's Viduka who thought about volleying it. He scored a wonder goal at Birmingham in the week on the half volley. Downing in towards Viduka. Mendieta with an early opportunity, wouldn't quite come down for him.
Don't think he was expecting it. Ian, don't think he was expecting it. A little bit cold coming on the pitch. I don't think he's up to speed as well in terms of his fitness, but that's not influenced this one. It's popped off the defender, and he's got closed down quickly. It's a tricky one for him. You have to expect that Middlesbrough will show a lot more this second half. Very disappointing before the break.
They have made one other little strategic change. Mendieta's playing in the centre of midfield, and Ray Parlour has come out to the right-hand side. Boateng up to Viduka, being carefully policed by Charlton. Now Jerome Thomas, things on here. Oh, Kishishev was in space on his outside, instead he went the other way, but Charlton do get a free kick in a really dangerous area. Danny Murphy will fancy this.
Well, this happened so many times in the first half when a Middlesbrough player gets robbed by a hungry Charlton player. It was Kishishev in this instance, I think, and he had a choice of passes, didn't he? The one to his left certainly looks the better bet for Jerome Thomas. Gets crowded out. Doesn't make up his mind, Thomas, but dangerous position. Middle of the goal. Danny Murphy, done it once this season.
And in the northeast as well, at Sunderland. And he's got to get it up over that wall and down again. Not a lot of room to work with. But if anyone can, maybe it is Danny Murphy. It is Murphy for Charlton, and this time he could not get it to dip in time.
More than the dip, he's just gone for a side foot for that top corner. Didn't quite get it right. Good enough strike. Come on with that.
Well, he missed Liverpool's European Cup win after his move last year, but he didn't miss a single Premiership game for Charlton. Danny Murphy, tribute to his fitness and conditioning. Rommedahl will chase this, but Downing is there for Middlesbrough. Mendieta does well. Now Viduka. Another player, despite his 2 goals the other night, who probably needs the matches at the moment, Alan Viduka.
Well, he is that type of player anyway. I mean, it was very much stop-start last year.
Rommedahl's got him behind again here. Pulls it back. Well, Bent was there on the near post, but it was too far in front of him.
It was just sheer pace from Rommedahl that enabled him to catch that ball before it went out.
Mendieta. Smertin, good work from him. Just getting that important little foot in to win back possession again for Charlton, who look very comfortable with this adaptable 4-5-1 system that they're playing.
I think Steve McClaren has changed the system slightly as well, in that Mendieta is playing more of an advanced role at the point of the diamond, playing a narrow system, trying to compensate or cope with that extra man that Charlton have had in midfield in the first half and benefited from. Mendieta trying to support the front two whenever he can. Not playing with as much width as they did in the first half. Middlesbrough tighten things up a little bit.
Ooh, Thomas. And he's got a knock there after that little collision with Michael Reisiger. Referee wanting a word with Reisiger here.
Just a touch late.
Card stays in the pocket. No yellows yet. Thomas is still down. Both Rommedahl's parents were athletes, you won't be surprised to learn. His pace was pretty important in getting him into the area to score that goal.
It was a well-timed run and a well-timed pass. Everything was right. They were a little unlucky, as Andy alluded to at half-time, with George Boateng being off the pitch. Even so, it was coming. Charlton were creating chances. That time they took one.
Limps to the side here, Jerome Thomas, minus his right boot. It's Keith Peacock on the right there with Alan Kirbishley just trying to check how bad that is. By the way, Keith Peacock was in the crowd when that 6-6 draw happened at the Valley all those years ago. I think he's going to be okay again, Jerome Thomas. Are Charlton this year's Everton? I wonder, Alan.
They've started off in that vein, haven't they? Looking very comfortable. Very confident indeed.
Parlour was too long for Viduka. Of course, I'm sure the Everton fans will tell us that Everton will be this year's Everton again. Thomas is back on again. Not moving very easily, though. And Reisiger just having a little word with him there. Here's Chris Powell. I must have thought he played his last ever game for Charlton when he was on his way to West Ham, part of their promotion side last year. Ray Parlour. Back to Reisiger. Now Boateng. It's all fairly ponderous so far, and again easily broken up. Very high work rate from Rommedahl, who's making the case for almost being man of the match here so far.
Well, he's done everything asked of him. I know we were a little bit critical opening 20 when his final ball wasn't right, but nothing wrong with his work ethic today. And it is so vital for those two wide men, him and Jerome Thomas, to really put the work in. They've done just that. And they do look comfortable at the moment. I'd be expecting an onslaught from Middlesbrough. Hasn't materialised yet.
Rommedahl. Pogatetz, does that stay in play? No, he didn't, not quite. Over on that far side.
I'd love to have seen that tackle he got for a 6-month ban. Must have been some tackle, that.
It was a leg-breaking challenge, which is why the Russian FA came down so heavily on him. Strange thing about Pogatetz, he's been with Bayer Leverkusen for a number of years. They've had his registration, but they keep on sending him out on loan. He never did make a senior appearance for them.
I think it was when he was playing for Graz, wasn't it, in the UEFA Cup, that Steve McLaren, Steve Harrison were impressed by him and snapped him up when they had the chance.
Boateng. Towards Yakubu, he's not getting much change out of that Charlton defence, and that missed chance early on begins to look more and more expensive by Yakubu. It's a very, very presentable one. Viduka tangling with Terry, but Murphy helps out. Borough do get the free kick.
The way that Middlesbrough are set up now, they have lost a bit of width, and Stuart Downing's playing in a more narrow role. You do think that is an avenue that they haven't been able to exploit down that flank and getting crosses into the box to feed Viduka and Yakubu.
Boateng again.
Through the middle, isn't it? It's Charlton's strong point, really.
Reisiger under pressure from Smerton here. He's not able to relax on the ball or create too much. Middlesbrough, of course, the home fans a bit frustrated here. They haven't seen Middlesbrough score at home yet this season. Their first match here was a 0-0 draw against Liverpool. which turned into the Steven Gerrard show, you might remember in some ways. Here's Powell. Oh, and bent. Decent effort. Yakubu wants to get over on that left-hand side and raid in that area. Viduka in an off-the-ball incident with Haridason as well. Those two getting in a tangle. Meanwhile, Young gives away a free kick to Middlesbrough. They take it quickly. Oh, is it Powell? Perry, rather, with a complete air shot, and lucky there was nobody in the red shirt behind him.
Well, Viduka was looking down at the floor at the time. Didn't know the free kick had been taken quickly.
Mendietta's cross straight into the goalkeeper's arms. Middlesbrough were only beaten here last season by the top three: Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United and Southampton. Thomas moving freely again, tries to pick up Kishashev. That's a good ball towards Ben. Rommedahl got there, tried to find Ben with a little back heel. Well, he's on fire today, Dennis Rommedahl. His cross this time is going to be too long for Bent.
All is not well within that Middlesbrough defence, because not only was Rommedahl free through there on that left-hand channel, Darren Bent, so he was as well. There's a choice for them. Which one wants to take it? That's not what you want to see from your back four. Far too many gaps.
Well, we think here that Gaishka Mendieta may have to come off. That's not good news. He's only just come back, of course, from the cruciate injury at the start of this season. But here's another Charlton attack. Thomas, Bent, Schwarzer came just for a moment. A left-footed lob might have been on. Bent was forced a little bit too wide maybe to try that. Now, Murphy. And now maybe the change can be made.
It's a signal for Middlesbrough, because they were nursing him back, such an important player for them, and probably threw him on before ideally they would have wanted to.
Nisano Macaroni is going to come on for Borough. Thomas. Everything looked good until the cross.
We've got a few of them today, and not enough from his side.
And it has only lasted a few minutes here, Mendieta, and a little bit worrying really. Spaniard has to come off, and on comes the Italian striker Massimo Macaroni. £8.15 million he cost from Empoli 3 years ago. So far 16 goals in 65 Borough matches. He was loaned to Parma last season and then to Siena, where he did rather better, scoring 7 goals for them in 17 appearances.
He's got 3 up front, and it doesn't always help you, you know. Mike Viduka's gone over onto the left, and he won't be entirely happy there. McLaren forced into it, chasing the game.
He's really shuffled the cards now, hasn't he?
Well, each and every one of those 3 strikers have just got to adapt the game a little bit and think a bit more about their positions. They easily get in each other's way, the way that they're set up.
Mendieta, we're told, has a calf injury, so in a way that is better news. It's not anything related to the knee which kept him out so long. Now then, Boateng. Reiziger. Viduka on the turn! Oh! Clever strike on the volley from Mark Viduka.
That's exactly what he's capable of, isn't it? Saw it at Birmingham. Saw it again here.
Another Macaroni. Looking to take on the Charlton defenders on that side, and they get a corner kick.
Well, this is what he's capable of. Mark Viduka hasn't had too many opportunities, and he hasn't got any space there at all to get his shot away. Chris Perry gets as close as he possibly can, but big centre forward still manages a good shot on target.
Downing to take the corner kick. Gareth Southgate is in there, and he bent it was, he got his head to that, and then off the line by Smertin. It was Pogatetz who got the attempt in on goal as well, looking for a debut goal. That's a couple off the line for Charlton. Luke Young with one, Alexei Smertin that second time. Now then, Southgate. A bit more fervour among the Borough fans here as they can see their side start to exert a little heat. Downing. But no more heat like that.
They have done the job defensively, Charlton, getting players to funnel back when they sense danger. All sorts of people around. Anderson to help him out, might have caught that one, but for Smerton.
Just past the hour mark, Charlton still clinging on to the lead given to them by Dennis Rommedahl. Thomas couldn't quite feed in Bent. Chris Powell has to go backwards. Heog's header away wasn't the best one, it far for Thomas. Now it's Smertin. Powell. This is Smertin again. Thomas. Well, he was hoping somebody would make a diagonal run to the near post, which never did happen. Yakubu. Yakubu becomes the subject of player cam for digital viewers.
Just need a spark, Middlesbrough, somebody to get the ball, take the initiative, have a run at a player, get this crowd behind them more than anything. It's tough going at the moment.
This is Macaroni. Powell showing his cool and experience there. And Danny Murphy's intelligence in that midfield has been a constant feature of the action as well. Intelligence which set up the goal. Now then, Thomas. Good one again. Thomas, can he get a decent cross in? No, it's way too long.
There's a ball in, but far too easy for him to get past rights to go and get to the byline. Defending with the kind of steel that you normally associate with Middlesbrough today. He's still limping, Thomas, still managed to wriggle through.
Murphy for Charlton to Kishushev. Rommedahl again. Bent on the turn. Had to take it quickly.
Coming far off this one. Perfect ball coming into him. Bent knew exactly what he wanted to do. He's some distance off in the end.
Darren Bent, who scored within 20 seconds of coming on, his first ever league goal, the winner for Ipswich against Middlesbrough some 3 years ago. In fact, he's scored in both games he's played in his career against Borough.
He showed a lot of intelligence this afternoon, he has, with the runs off the ball that he's made, unselfish runs off the shoulder of Southgate, Heog, giving the Charlton players a target.
This is already Charlton's best Premiership start. If they do win here, it's going to be their best start ever in the top flight. Murphy, good little turn. Smertin's picked it up here. He has the strength to hold on to it as well. And I'm quite happy to just funnel it back. Little push by him on Darren Bent.
They'll take those all day, Charlton. Just a little bit of time, settle things down.
Fascinating clash, isn't it, between the bright young thing Darren Bent and the old heads Ehiog and Southgate in the middle of that Middlesbrough defence.
It probably has been his biggest test so far. His fourth game for Charlton and against two highly experienced and talented players, and he's come through really well so far, Darren Bent.
Here's another opportunity for Danny Murphy to conjure up something. And feeds it to Smerton, who I'm not sure was expecting it totally. Didn't look like they were on the same wavelength there. Lost in translation, I think they were. Going to go harmlessly into touch. Of course, Middlesbrough thought that win at Birmingham the other night, and they did play well there. Created plenty, scored 3 goals. They must have thought, well, this is liftoff for our season. But today, so far anyway, another story.
See the fresher legs as well with Charlton. They didn't have a game in midweek and seems to be benefiting at the moment. They look much to the brighter side.
Schwarzer hammering it away. There'll be a Barrett throw. Looking to attack with 3 forwards now. Macaroni on the right, Viduka, centre, Yakubu pushing out further to the left now. Boateng. Southgate. Now Pogatetz. Downing playing a more central role now. Whether that will work to Middlesbrough's advantage, hard to say really. That wasn't his best ball, easily cut out by Chris Powell. They do look fresher, Charlton. I think the fact that they didn't play in midweek and Middlesbrough did, that's shown a bit, hasn't it, Alan?
I think so. I mean, it was a good win at St Andrews for Middlesbrough, but it was also a win that would have took something out of them. Bound to. When you've had a 3 week as Charlton have had on a high 100% record, much better preparation for them.
Boateng was nearly cut out by Rommedahl, but it's fallen here for Pogatetz. He's the new boy, looking to take on Luke Young for pace. But Young did his job very, very well. Charlton goal kick, more danger snuffed out.
I think that's a good example of how Charlton have defended for the entire match. Everybody taking responsibility, tracking back.
Luke Young has actually scored on this ground, one of his rare career goals for the England under-21 side a few years back. Yakubu, can he get there? No, he can't. Chris Perry, who's had a monstrous match at the back for Charlton, was there again.
Just looking down at Steve McClaren in the technical area. He's standing there, hands on hips, just urging a little bit more from his players. He's done as much as he can, really, from the bench.
Rise again, Yakubu couldn't get up for it, really.
They've got no shortage of strikers on now, have they? A little bit too high.
He used to score enough goals against Middlesbrough in his Portsmouth days. 4 in one game, wasn't it, on one occasion? None yet so far, though, for Borough. They need one from him, or someone anyway. Isaac's ball to Parler was inaccurate, and unlucky it fell for Boateng. Now then, Parler playing this forward. Haridason getting it away. Charlton determined to hold on to the 3 points that they are currently on course for. Macaroni's header, it did well really because it was behind him. It's
It's all being played in front of that Charlton defence at the moment, unable to get around the back.
Pogatetz. Now Downing. Pogatetz again, down the line, too far ahead of Yakubu, easy for Chris Terry. Boateng. Tala. Reisig is in space on this right-hand side, but it needs a decent delivery here. Yakubu, back post. Well watched again by Luke Young. Pogatetz. Yakubu, clever little ball out. Macaroni. Oh, and he's just asked way too much of Downing.
And that's when you want your striker to take the responsibility. He did have a chance to turn and have a look at the target, let one fly.
Possession surrendered in midfield again by Middlesbrough. I know Steve McLaren won't be happy with the quality of their passing today.
Southgate's convinced that Smerton has gone to ground too easily there.
He's got a yellow card to mark his 600th career appearance. He would prefer the 3 points.
Tough one for the ref because Southgate's stretching all the way. Very small amount of contact. See why he's a little bit annoyed.
But yellow it is. Captain consistent in the town that brought you Captain Cook. Murphy. Now then. Powell. And he thought that Rommedahl had carried on with his run to his outside. A bit more spasmodic now, the Charlton attacks, and that may be the way of it, as they possibly sit on the 3 points and just look for breaks as and when they can get them.
Well, I just want to hold the shape now and make sure that they don't get stretched and pulled all over the place. They're doing a good job of it at the moment.
His ball, come and get it, says Murphy to his goalkeeper.
Well, there you go. That's all he thinks of it at the moment. I think he wants the ball played forward quicker, rather than just looking up and taking the time. Some of these Middlesbrough players too laboured.
Mistake by Reisiger. Thomas. And this time Ehiog make sure he goes no further. Thomas appeals rather vainly to the referee. I don't think he really had a case. Southgate, on for Macaroni to chase with Chris Powell, who made his debut 17 years ago for Charlton. Made sure that Macaroni went no further, and the referee saw nothing wrong with the challenge. Smerton, handball. Despite all their frustrations here, Middlesbrough only need the 1 goal to get level and maybe even push on from there if they can get it. Still in the game, no doubt about that. Downing up towards Pogatetz on that back post area. Murphy, the brakes on here. Luke Young. Rommedahl is with him, and Thomas in acres of space on the back post, and he's not found.
Oh, did he see Thomas? That just required a little curler across the face of goal to Thomas's putter. How well did Luke Young do there? Won the header initially and then burst forward.
Downing. And the Middlesbrough fans fans absolutely seething as that attack breaks down.
That's exactly what you want to hear as well as a visiting player. Home fans getting on the backs of the players. You know you're doing your job when that happens.
Yakubu to Viduka. And Kishushev sitting in front of that defence did ever so well there. Battle line strategically drawn now. Charlton making sure they get as many men behind that ball as possible. Every time Middlesbrough try to attack, but again possession given away almost criminally in midfield by Barra there. This is fallen for Macaroni! Oh, and the goalkeeper nearly lost it, Anderson, and was very relieved to turn around and find that that had not crossed the line.
I think this is what Steve McClaren was asking for. A little bit of uncomplicated football. Just get the ball into the front man, get somebody around him. And you never know your luck.
Togatets. Now Boateng. Comes off Murphy and goes out of play. Are they going to make a change here? Charlton. Sean Bartlett is going to come on. One of those players who's just lost his place with Darren Bent's arrival. Falls for Togatets. He's looking to slide one through for Viduka, but again it comes to nothing for Middlesbrough. And it's going to be another booking here, this time Reisiger. That's why. Jerome Thomas comes off for Charlton. He's had one or two little knocks throughout the course of the afternoon. And Sean Bartlett, who did score a couple for the reserves in midweek against Norwich City, the South African striker, comes on. He was the top scorer for Charlton last season with only 6, a total that Bent will certainly aim to beat this year. He's already got 3, and we've not got to the end of August yet. Rommedahl. That's good work from Boateng. He has it again now. This is Herman Hreidarson. Does well to keep his feet. There's still Hreidarson. Head in towards Bartlett. Hreidarson again. Now Smertin on his left foot. It hit Bartlett, that shot. Togatets' clearance was not too decisive. And Bent picked it up well and held it up well. And now Kishushev breaks. Young breaks down the right-hand side, and in the end it goes for a goal kick. The more enterprising attacking from Charlton when they get the opportunity, and not frightened to push their defenders forward either, Young and Hreidarson.
Well, there's far too much of that gone on, really, if you're a Middlesbrough fan, if you're a player. Charlton players running past defenders, past midfielders. It's happened far too often. Alan Kirbysley with the change, with Sean Bartlett on. He's not been tempted to change his shape, his system, and why not? It's worked a treat up till now. Darren Bent has gone across to the right-hand side. Bartlett in the middle. Retain that 4-3-3.
And just to think there were some idiots ringing phone-ins last year calling for Alan Kirbysley to be fired, a man who's done an absolutely magnificent job, of course, as the Charlton athletic manager. There'd be a queue all the way to the Millennium Dome if they ever let him go, with other clubs trying to get him. Down goes Murphy, wanted a free kick and got it as well.
to him a little bit, George Boateng. Had a good, solid game today, Danny Murphy. Going down that pitch, seeing plenty of the ball.
I think the Borough fans felt that Murphy hit the turf a little too easily there, maybe just used his experience in this late stage of the game, but it's another moment of danger here. Can they get a second to tie it up? It's Perry! He scored! Chris Perry, and that surely wraps it up for Charlton. When you're hot, you're hot.
Straight off the training ground, this one. Middlesbrough totally asleep. A little near post run from the centre half of all people, but he doesn't finish like a centre half, he finishes like a top class striker. The ball was nice and sharp, just needed to direct it towards that near post. How pleased is he with that one, Chris Perry? Done his job on the back foot brilliantly well, next to Hardison, and just tops it off.
He only got one goal last season, he's got another one this, but more importantly, it looks like that is going to seal it for Charlton as they look for another win in the North Eastern to keep this 100% record. Well, maybe there are one or two surprise stories in this Premiership. Manchester City's great start, Charlton with an excellent start. And a sucker punch that for Borough. Anderson comes to that, doesn't get it, and in the end, Ehiog into the side netting.
Maybe they haven't done this quite enough, Middlesbrough. Just use that direct approach, the physical one. They're not the biggest team, Charlton. Maybe an area that they haven't exploited enough, Middlesbrough. But what a kick in the teeth it's been after such a great win at St Andrews. Not just to lose your game, but in the manner of it, Steve McClaren will be deeply disappointed because they haven't really got started.
They've looked uncharacteristically lethargic here at the Riverside today, Middlesbrough, and the mood seemed to be on a bit of a high after their win in midweek too. Their next game, incidentally, doesn't get any easier. It's Arsenal at home after the international break on September the 10th. That's another game you can see on Sky Sports. I think it's a 5:15 kickoff, that one. Southgate. Easy really that for Chris Powell. Uncharacteristically sloppy by Murphy for a moment, but the flag's up anyway. Brian Hughes is going to come on here for Charlton, the former Birmingham man who scored his first goal for the club in that big match at the end of last season in which Crystal Palace got relegated.
Important player he's going to be this season for Charlton if they can keep him out on that pitch. Alexei Smirtin, his quality really is. It's a measure of the bigger squad that Alan Kirbishy's got there now that can bring on somebody like Brian Hughes.
And he's got Matt Holland, of course, to come back as well. Difficult bounce here for the defenders. Oh, Bent nearly went for that in the end. Ehiog did. I think he wanted Chaucer to come and get it. Looks like Charlton Athletic will be sitting third in the table in a few minutes' time. Macaroni, unless there's something very dramatic late on. Viduka. But Charlton, to be honest with you, totally unrecognisable from the side we saw in the last 2 months of last season, when nothing much seemed to go right for them. Still managed to finish 11th though, but it looked like they were going to have a run towards a spot in the UEFA Cup earlier on in the season.
You look around this team as well, and every single one of them has pulled the weight. You can't pick anybody out you think has been below par. They've all played something approaching their maximum. Been a really professional performance by them.
Off the head of Powell, Hardison goes to ground, and it goes behind. Dispirited look about Middlesbrough now. That second goal, really the killer blow, you sense anyway.
Well, they probably just let Chris Perry make the run. They thought, well, he's not going to score. Doesn't score too many in his career, but look at the room that he's got there. It's a well-worked free kick. Danny Murphy picking him out, something that I would have practiced on a training ground. Maybe the finish didn't always happen that way.
Chris Perry has been sent off on this ground in the past, 3 seasons ago. Happiest story from today, a second goal and a yellow card here for Haridason. The first Charlton yellow of the day.
Well, he'll take that. He's been all over Mark Viduka. He hasn't given him time to settle at all. More physical battle. He'll be pleased that he's come out on top in the main in that battle.
Downing looking to chip one up. It's easily defended. Hughes, the substitute, got it away. And here's Danny Murphy, who's had another outstanding game for Charlton. He really has. Probably his chances of playing in a World Cup have gone now because he was injured and missed his chance for the last one. Plenty ahead of him in the midfield echelons now, but really doing a very, very fine job today for Charlton in there. Viduka, easy for Hughes to cut out. Luke Young, one for Bent to chase. Well, Charlton haven't won in Middlesbrough since the year Nelson Mandela was released. Mrs. Thatcher resigned as Prime Minister, and Driving Miss Daisy was the top film in the Oscars, 1990. But it looks like that little sequence is about to come to an end here. They've never won at the Riverside in the Premiership, and they haven't even won at Ayresome Park since way back in the mists of time. That's Riesiker. Perry cutting it out. Because all these Charlton players know too that they're going to really have to play for their places this season. There's a lot of experienced Premiership players around at the club. Nice problem for Alan Kirbishley to have, an unfamiliar one. Here's Pogatetz. Nearly scored on his debut. Smertin got it off the line, and a bit of help from his goalkeeper. One for Bartlett to chase. He'll getting it back for Borough, but they've been poor today, to be honest, haven't they?
Well, they have been. I mean, just thinking about this Charlton side, it just, you know, if they weren't confident enough, it'll give them such a morale booster, because yeah, they've beaten Wigan at home, they've beaten Sunderland away, 2 teams that have been promoted.
Macaroni trying to get on the end of this. He still might get a chance here. Macaroni hammered away by Chris Powell.
But this is a team in Middlesbrough, an established Premiership side. No mugs on the day, just hasn't been the day this afternoon. But
Yakubu, can he get a shot away here? Disappointing match for him. He had that big chance early on. It might have been a different story had that one been tucked away.
They want the final whistle now, don't they, this Middlesbrough side? It's been painful for them this second half, when you expected something to happen after a pretty miserable time before the break. It just hasn't materialised. No matter what they've tried, they've come off second best to this Charlton side. Individual battles and collective ones.
Kishashev. Now Rommedahl, scorer of the first goal. And to be fair, in outstanding form, the form that he's shown at times in his PSV days, and for Denmark, of course. The Middlesbrough fans are not happy with what they've seen here. Murphy. Charlton really have bossed this in many ways. Now then, Yakubu. This is Pogatetz. Downing. Viduka. Looking to turn. Downing again, lets the shot go. Charlton block it. Still very, very embryonic times, of course, in this season, and there may be many more chapters to write in the book, but the first chapter is a very happy one at the moment for Charlton Athletic. They have a corner to defend here. Swung in by Downing. Even Bartlett was back defending. Back into the danger zone. The goalkeeper came and got a good punch on that in the end. Anderson. Wasn't easy for him. He's fouled one of his own players as well. And then Ehiog was in there, but it's Ryderson who's down injured. Ryderson, who's strained cruciate ligaments.
You had a fair distance to come there to claim that, Anderson. And you just got to clear out everything. You've got to get to the ball once you made the decision to go. He did that, Anderson. Got enough distance on the punch. Good day's work. Alan Kirbishley, good day's work.
Yeah, that's a picture of a happy man, Alan, isn't it?
It's one of those afternoons where everything comes off you for you. You know, the team that you set out is playing a certain way. They've done their jobs. They've done exactly what you've asked of them. Really satisfying. Direct comparison to that man. I think he'll just put it down as a bad day at the office. He'll have to. I think he'll be talking about some tired legs as well. His team have looked stale today.
And they did lead Middlesbrough to their highest ever finish last year, and they won the League Cup, of course, in the season before that. Middlesbrough have been generally upwardly mobile, but this just has been a flat performance from them. Maybe just one of those days. They'll certainly hope so. Will be thinking, though, whether there are other issues to address.
Well, there's certainly enough quality here. I do think the one area that they'll want to do something about before Wednesday and the transfer window slams shut is that midfield area where I think they're desperate for a little bit more quality, a bit more guile perhaps, somebody who is more of a forward-thinking midfield player, run beyond the front. They haven't got that at the moment. Now that Zendon's gone, I'd be surprised to see them swoop in this transfer market.
Probably too late to matter for Middlesbrough, but they have got a corner here. No, Bartlett gets it away. And Middlesbrough have been linked in the transfer market with Rodolphe Douala and Fabio Rochenbach, both of Sporting Lisbon. Rochenbach's a midfield player. Powell here. Bit of work to do with Macaroni getting in behind him. But everybody just looking at their watches now, and Charlton will be just happy to let the clock run down. Unless Bent can get away here and make it 3. Can he keep up his goal-scoring run? You bet he can. You bet he can. Darren Bent again. 4th goal already this season. 4 in 3 games. And that rounds it off for Charlton. Sucker punch on the break. 3-0.
Well, this does approach an embarrassment, because look at the Middlesbrough players. They're more or less just stood still. Watch Darren Bent sprint away on goal. OK, you've lost the game, but it's the last thing you want to do from the point of personal pride, is to let players have free run of the ground. That's what he virtually got. And every single Middlesbrough player sunk to their haunches in... Well, totally shattered.
Virtually the last kick of the game. Bent keeps up his record of scoring every time he's played against Middlesbrough. 3 points for 100% Charlton Athletic, who leap to 3rd in the table. 3 games played, 9 points. Dennis Rommedahl with the first goal. Chris Perry with a second, then Darren Bent with a third, with almost the last kick to keep up his hot scoring streak. And Middlesbrough really very, very flat. A worrying performance from their point of view. But Charlton at the moment are hot. Not many travelling fans here, but they're going to enjoy the journey home, as are the Charlton players. It's Middlesbrough 0, Charlton 3.